Welcome to the Ultimate Sacrifice Show, where combat veterans and Gold Star families have a voice. It's our first show, and proudly we have the honor to have my brother and fellow combat veteran Dave Kelso on with us today. You know, Dave, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Thanks very much for having me.
It's when this was incepted, and you know, the past couple weeks has kind of been hard charging after the news segment. And when we incepted this, and I talked to you, a few days ago, when you agreed to come on. But dude, all I thought of was I got to get in contact with Dave Kelso. So for anyone watching, for anyone who doesn't know who Dave Kelso is, AKA Doc Hollywood, he was not only, one of my brothers who I served with in combat and who I was in the 173rd with, but he is also fortunate enough to be coming on today to dive in a little bit about his story when he was on OP Restrepo in the Korengal Valley. So the Korengal Valley, very tumultuous valley, tumultuous terrain, heavy combat. It really took its toll on us, but the 173rd in general takes pride in that, and really it's part of our ethos. It's kind of like part of us now. And regardless of really what you did, and you have the experience firsthand, but regardless of what you did, it's deep ingrained within everyone who's ever been in the 173rd. So Doc Hollywood, Dave Kelso, was in that documentary, also was in the documentary The Korengal, Sebastian Junger, and Tim Harrington. Did I say that correct?
Tim Hetherington, yeah.
Hetherington, yeah. So unfortunately, Tim passed away. He was killed in, I believe, Libya. When he was covering some stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
indirect
Sebastian,
fire.
Man, crazy. And Sebastian is crushing it. And this really excelled real life scenarios and really how it is in real time on the ground. So that's a little bit about Dave, but listen, man, this hour is all about you. And this is exactly why we're creating this entire show and this segment right here today. I want you to be able to speak. You have a platform. This is going to be real. It's going to be raw, and it's going to be powerful. And, anyone who's watching this first show, there's going to be times where emotions might flow, and we're just going to roll with it because this is a lot. It has a lot to do with also helping the veteran community because we need to get back together. And these past 3 weeks or a month even has proven how much we need to band together. So listen,
Absolutely.
Without further ado, this is Dave Kelso. This guy is a warrior, a hero. He's one of my brothers. And Dave, I'm going to leave the floor to you, man. I guess we can lead it in with your pre-Army. What compelled you to join?
Well, first off, thanks for everything that you're doing. Getting the word out to everybody and giving everybody this platform. You just have no idea how many lives that, we could affect just by the video, just by reaching out to the other guys. So definitely, this mission's really important to me about getting veterans' voices heard because everybody's got a voice. No matter what experience you had, everybody just has that one thing that bothers them, and giving them this platform to kind of open up and speak is it's awesome. So thank you very much for that.
My pleasure, man.
So for me, I back in 2004, I decided I was going to join the Army. Really wasn't doing much in life, was just kind of, still kind of angry about 9/11. I was, just like you, I was a junior, in, high school when this all happened. We're taking the gateway test, for the graduation test. And, I remember him, stopping the test and, playing some of the news scenarios that were going on and just kind of showing us what was going on and everybody just being in disbelief. But, that little ember's always burnt with me. So when I was 18, I chickened out. I didn't join all the way up until actually I was 20. I was at a kind of a low point in my life. I just wasn't doing much, just playing around in the pool room and just didn't really have any goals, no aspirations. So I went to a recruiter's office. Me and my dad did, and we sat down, talked to him, and he said, "Well, what do you want to do in the Army?" said, well, my dad's always been a firefighter, so I would love to do something medical. And I remember he was like, well, do you want to go to combat? And I was like, well, yeah. And he played this little 30 to 45 second video clip of the combat medic. And I was hooked. I mean, from that moment, they glorified it. They went and showed all the shooting and you get to be with the infantry guys and they love you. And yeah, that was the start of my journey. So joined the Army in 2007. I graduated AIT October 31st of 2007. Went through Fort Sam Houston, did all the fun HUA medic training. I thought, when I got out, I was like, oh my God, I'm probably the most least trained medic in the world. Like, I didn't feel like I had any confidence. I didn't, it was so fast. So got out of AIT and immediately I went to the 173rd in Bamberg, Germany. Met a few of the guys that really kind of influenced me. One was Sergeant Dietrich. He was one of my squad leaders. And
hell yeah,
Sergeant DeMaury Morton.
Great dudes,
Sergeant DeMaury Morton is a decorated medic out of Iraq. Him and Dietrich kind of took me underneath their wing and really showed me how to train, showed me how to, get out there and be the medic that I wanted to be. When I joined the Army, I was never the best dressed medic. I was, might be late to formation once a week.
No, not you, man. No way.
Yeah. I mean, constantly, I was the knucklehead of the platoon, but I was great at my job because I took my job serious. I remember when I graduated AIT, I got a service ring that just, it said, life or death. And then on the other side of the ring, it said, it's my choice. That's a heavy weight to lift. I've been to the gym a lot, throughout my life and throughout the military. And that's the strongest weight I've ever had to lift, was knowing that every one of my guys, every one of my brothers, my sisters to my left and right they were in my hands. So, I always took training super serious. If we were simulating casualties, I was talking to you like you was a real casualty.
Yes, you were.
All the way down to my training, and I know you've been through some of my CLS training and stuff. We didn't do that by the book. We didn't do that paperwork. We didn't do that test. You came through my trauma lanes, and I stressed you out. I was not allowed to shoot at you. I wasn't allowed to do anything else, but I could yell and scream and make you feel like you were messing up the world and call you names and get you out of your element.
Let me touch on that real quick, man, because I think it's important. So I told you a few days ago when we spoke that, and I'm not going to give away your secrets, but the technique that you were teaching, I remember coming in, I was brand new in the military, man. We were like getting ready to deploy. And that technique that you taught me, I carried over on multiple tours throughout my career and actually applied it in real life, because that's what it's all about. Like you were saying, not the best dressed soldier, but, an animal at his job. And he really cared for it. But long story short, just so everyone watching understands, like, this is the guy who literally probably saved the life through me and so many others. So I appreciate that, dude.
And that's the ultimate goal, we couldn't be everywhere on the battlefield. One medic for, every 25, 30 guys. I needed you guys to be that one step up. I needed you guys to be that second hand, medic. And in the 173rd, we had probably one of the best trained CLS groups out of the Army. Literally we took that so much seriously, and all the way down to the lowest private to our sergeant major, everybody went through that CLS class. And I wasn't passing nobody that wasn't willing to get down and dirty with us and experience that. We had Colonel Oslin and the brigade sergeant major come down, and they went through our CLS class, and they thought it was phenomenal. So
Vamoto, Sergeant Major Vamoto, at the time.
Yeah, Sergeant Major Vamoto at the time. Yeah, him and Colonel Oslin, they both came down, and they were able to go through the CLS class and stuff like that. So, You know, it was and I mean, even them, you know, I mean, I yelled at them just as I yelled at my lowest private. I didn't treat anybody any different. And I think they were a little taken back
man.
at first, you know. I mean, you can only cuss at a sergeant major and a colonel a couple times before they kind of look at you like, who do you think you are?
100%.
But no, they everybody accepted it. They knew that was what training had to be. I had to make it as realistic as possible, and so. But yeah, here we are. You know, in the 173rd. Like I said, you know, Dietrich and Sergeant Morton, they were both there to kind of pull me underneath their wing and, you know, really, you know, start developing me as a medic. I'm pretty sure it was right around November. Yeah.
I don't want to cut you off at all, man. This is your time. But from there, you know, you have these mentors. You have these techniques that you can now apply in real life. You're given this hard style training, which all of it's 100% true. I've been there. From there, what got you to second bat, and what got you to that platoon, man?
So our first deployment, when we deployed out in 07, November time frame. I was attached to Alpha Company, and we were doing some clips. And I remember they brought me off the clips. I came back to Jalalabad. They rotated some other medics in so they could get some experience out there in the trucks. And Ranch House had happened. And when Ranch House got overran, that was my turning point. That was I'm no longer an 8-station medic. I'm no longer this sit around and watch guys get fucked up. Like, it angered me. It tortured me on the inside that I needed to be there. That was the turning point. Sergeant Durkinis was shot in the chest. I remember I went to First Sergeant Slacky and told him, I said, I can't do this. Like, you have to send me to somewhere else. Right around this time, that's when we lost Juan Restrepo out in the Cornwall Valley. He was the guy's medic. He was their angel, and unfortunately, you know, he had to go off and be at a higher place. And I don't know I know a lot of people don't understand, like, I got shipped out there. First Sergeant Slacky put me on a plane. I went to Camp Blessing, and, you know, you kind of asked, how did I get there? Hard work, dude. I grinded. I made sure my medical skills were the best. For 3 weeks, they had me at Camp Blessing with Captain Dean, Captain Swames, and Doc Lemon was out there, which went on to, you know, be a Special Forces medic, be an 18 Delta in the Special Forces. Yeah. These guys we were running drills in the middle of the night in a combat zone. Like, I mean, in the middle of us getting mortared, we were running drills. They were making me carry, and I mean, Doc Lemon, for anybody that never knew, I mean, this guy was massive. I mean, he was huge. He was 255 pounds, and he was solid muscle. And, I mean, they would make us go around and pick this guy up and carry him, and I excelled. When I excelled past other people, like, sometimes that was an understatement. I went above and beyond. When we were taking our test, like, I wanted to crush it. I wanted to crush everything. But I didn't limit my medical skills to what came out of a book. And that's what kind of set me aside from other medics. I could look around on the battlefield and find the most minimal thing that you could ever see and use that as a medical, you know, intervention. I mean, I had the eye for it. I had the know-how, the knowledge. I knew where to stop the bleeding at. You know, I knew what instruments I was gonna use before I even really got to the patient. Like, I mean, I knew where I was at. So, but when I got to the Cornwall Valley, I was not accepted right away. If you've ever went to an infantry platoon and they've lost a medic or they've lost a guy, that is
Yeah.
probably you are the loneliest
Yeah.
person in the platoon when you first get there. They don't care who you are. I was private piece shit Kelso that had an 8 bag. I was nobody.
Yeah. You earn your keep, man. Yeah.
Yeah, for a couple months. I remember I treated a friend of mine, Colby Dunn, and when this is at Restrepo, he got burned in the shit barrel, and caught on fire, and it wasn't till that day that I really, guys started calling me Doc. Guys started, I was part of the family. I was there. Then later on, not too long after that, Murph, he got blown up in the IED, and we couldn't find him. It was a really bad situation. He actually, when the IED hit, he got blown out of the Humvee, and both his legs kind of got wrapped up in the Humvee, and he ended up losing both. But we couldn't find him, dude, for like 15 minutes. He was laying down on the side of the mountain because it blew him up and out of the turret. And when it blew him out of the turret, nobody's seen anything. Everybody was just, taking cover, and he was kind of on his own. But that's really when, that was my first, pretty much mortally wounded casualty. He was dead if we didn't find him and get him back. But yeah, man, the cornwall was it was an experience. It was to say the least.
Dude, there's so many avenues you can take. The documentary doesn't even encompass literally everything. It's like it gives you that raw, for everyone watching, it gives you the raw feelings and emotions and a quasi understanding of how life is. But when you're there, man, and Restrepo is I don't think you could top the Korengal Valley, to be honest with you. But when you're there, it's unlike anything else. When you're in that uncontrolled situation, and what was it? Dude, well over 500 firefights in that deployment.
Yeah, there was. We were recorded. So in the Korengal Valley itself, and that was with OP Vegas, Restrepo, Dallas, the Cop, combined. In the valley, we were in over 500 firefights in 15 months. Mortar attacks. We got shot at from everything from small caliber rifle rounds to Dishkas, Russian anti-aircraft weapons. Luckily, they never got that up and working the way it should have. They had some piece that kept breaking on it, but yeah, definitely, it was the Wild Wild West, for sure. But it got comfortable, and that was the alarming part. It really, it was just comfortable for somebody out here in the normal world to go pump their gas at a gas station. That's what it was. That's what it was like for us to be in a firefight. There was a lot of days that we were in firefights that I didn't have a casualty to treat. I didn't have nobody that was wounded. So it was nothing but me getting down with my own gun, and a lot of medics, they don't get to experience that. You know what I mean? Sure. I was in the fight too. A lot of people think the medics over here in the back, and a lot of times we weren't. We were for sure another gun on the battlefield.
Yeah, dude, 100%, especially the 173rd, and it's such an honor when you look back too when you look back and you look at your career, and I know you feel the same way, and you can say that you were in the 173rd Airborne. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows who the 173rd is. There's a reason why, as far as conventional units are concerned, there's a reason why all of these people, once you hit that sergeant, staff sergeant, sergeant first class plus level, rip and claw and try to get to the 173rd, and there's a reason why it's so hard to get there. This is the Army's, in my opinion, my humble opinion for anyone who's watching, this is the Army's best conventional unit. There's no questions asked about it, to me. And listen, you embody that, man. And just you saying, you're going over to second batch, you're going to battle company to these boys. They've been in the fight for a couple months now. And yeah, you got to earn your keep, man. And you more than did that, but you're 100% correct. Not a lot of medics do get to experience that. And you were one of them.
Well, I tell you, I didn't even know what I was in for when I first went to the Corps. Like, I knew it was bad. I mean, I knew they were getting in firefights. I remember Doc Lemon pulled me into the aid station. He was like, "Kelso, come here." So I run in there, and he pulls up on Google Korengal Valley. And the first thing that pops up is the world's deadliest valley.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's kind of when
Scary.
it sunk in. It was like, holy shit. Like, am I even prepared for this? Like, do I even have the minimal amount of medical knowledge that I'm going to need to go out here and take care of patients? You know, and I guess, you know, I never doubted myself per se, but there was always that wonder in the back of your mind, did you do enough? You know what I mean? Was your dressings tight enough? Was my tourniquet good? You know what I mean? Did I give the right fluids? You know, when I did push medication, did I push too much, you know, narcotics, or did I give him just the right amount? You know, could I intubated that guy, or, you know, just anything? I mean, there was just so many what ifs, you know, every time you treat somebody. But throughout my career, you know, I treated probably close to 6.5 mortally wounded casualties, or 6.5 dozen. I'm sorry. So, you know, probably well over 70 plus soldiers I've treated that, you know, were mortally wounded. Start to finish, I lost one throughout my whole entire career. If I got to you, you were, a lot of guys seen it as you were going home. And that's a pretty big fucking set of shoes to wear, you know? Like, when everybody looks at you, you know, and says, "Hey, if Doc Kelso's here, I'm gonna make it." You know, I'm fucking going home. You know, and there was a lot of medics like that. Like, and I mean, I don't want to, you know, I'm not here to say I was the best in the world, you know, because I mean, there was phenomenal medics out of Charlie Company. That's Charlie Company 173rd. They bred medics. You know, Ray Alcarez being one of them. You know, I mean, he was everybody's best friend. You know, everybody wants to say he was my best friend. Well, that's how Ray made you feel. You know, if you were friends with Ray, you felt like his best friend anytime you were around him.
Dude,
you know,
unfortunately, I wanted to. Sorry, I'll let you go, man. I want to tell you though, like when I posted a little story on Instagram, that's one of the pictures I took from, I believe it was your Facebook, was you and Ray, man.
And that picture is actually the last picture we ever took together. That was and. So,
is that a Chark?
You know, not to jump from the Cornwall. I mean, Ray is. I mean, that's second deployment. So we can let's roll through a little bit of the Cornwall first. So yeah, like like the Cornwall. You know, I mean, that was an instrumental role, or that was such an important deployment for me, with the knowledge and the combat experience that I got from that. You know, I mean, I was a teaching tool, and that's when I came back to the 173rd, and you know, I helped you know, do all the CLS classes and stuff like that, and I was able to instruct and lead all those, and but that's what gave me my platform. That's what gave me the confidence to be a good medic, and you need that. If you're not a cocky medic out there, and I see you're kind of reserved, I'm gonna be a lot. You're probably not going to be the first guy that I'm sending to the bad combat zones. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you want that kind of cocky medic that, you know, that knows what he's doing. But yeah, the Korengal Valley was just it was 15 straight months of the Wild Wild West. It was straight hell every day. I mean, it was relentless. It never gave up. When we wasn't getting shot at, I remember, like, that's the times I was scared. Like, that's the times that my stomach was in knots. You know what was coming. Like, why are they not shooting at us today? Like, are they just surplusing ammo somewhere? They're moving stuff around. And we had a team out there called Prophet, and they were our intel team. And they would tell us, like, they would use ICOM radios, and they would tell us, "Oh yeah, they're moving stuff around the valley. Just move it. It's not time to attack it. It's not time." And you're just literally like waiting. I mean, you're a fish in a fishbowl, and you know somebody's getting ready to shoot at you soon. And in the Korengal Valley, nobody had the high ground. You know, as much as you want to get it up on the high ground, I mean, like, if you were too high up by the Aviscar Ridge and stuff, you wasn't in the fight. And, you know, we couldn't get to you if you were shot at. So, like, you know, it was just a really, really bad place to be. I mean, it was really hard to defend that terrain. But yeah, so yeah, I remember leaving the Korengal, and I remember Sergeant Alcantara. You can actually see this in the Restrepo. We're standing out there. He tells us, you know, it's 30 days and counting from today. We're going home. And I remember just I was excited, but there's no way you could have told me that I would have made it out that last 30 days. Like, I mean, it was just, I mean, we're still firefight after firefight. So, I mean, when they told us we were going home in 30 days, up until the day that we walked out of that valley, I was dead unsure if I was even coming home. So, I mean, it was, that's a tough feeling. That's a tough feeling to carry with you all the time.
No, it is, man. You know, what kind of jumped out at me too, and I can attest to this, is how many of us did trust you, and how many lives you guys did save. And like you were saying, dude, it's not just you. You know, I witnessed it firsthand too. I can attest to it. Charlie Company was awesome. Yeah. We saved a lot of lives, and yeah, and even on our next deployment, it was there was some tumultuous stuff too, and I saw them just shine. I mean, it's beyond impressive. And your story, man, is incredible. And the fact that you had that combat experience is that molded you, man. That molded you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just the things that the 173rd period that we did, you know, leading into our second deployment, you know, we were the first brigade support battalion in the history of war to own our own battle space. Like, that was unheard of, to give a bunch of 88 mics and a bunch of fucking mechanics and you're taking supply sergeants, and you're taking guys that should be, you know, opening up boxes and giving us our damn Gerbers
on the ground,
out on mission. And to watch them guys go out there and succeed, and to just, you know, adapt to a situation that was, I mean, it was almost unfair that they were put in that situation, you know. I mean, that's dangerous. They don't have the, you know, the infantry combat training. You know what I mean? You know, you went back through and went through that infantry combat training. That ain't what we learned. You know what I mean? Like, in the BSB, you don't have guys out there teaching, you know, that experience. And it's just,
you know, no, yeah, I hear you. And that's another great point to bring up too. And we spoke about this, is, you know, nearly 80% of troops that deployed to Afghanistan, nearly 80, saw combat in one way, shape, form, or the other. Whether that's a rocket or mortar attack, firefights, IEDs, you know, a lot, probably close to 50% saw heavy combat. Whatever heavy combat is articulated as or thought of as, whatever that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I mean, listen, the nation's, in totality, the nation has never went through anything like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, in Vietnam and in wars like that, incredible feats of heroism, but, you know, in totality, and including some of the female combat medics that were going out with second bat, like on the next deployment, like, America hasn't done that. Like, we never did it. We've never seen it before. It's very hard to rationalize, and it was incredible watching it. But it's 100% true, and this is why America needs stories like this, man. They need to hear that.
Yeah, well, I mean, and kudos to, I mean, like you said, you bring up the female medics.
I don't want to say her name, but I'll have her on. I don't want to call her out on the show, but.
Oh, yeah, I mean, definitely. Well, I mean, there's two that, I mean, really stood out in Charlie Company. We bred female medics just like we bred the male medics, you know what I mean? I mean, nobody was different. Your training was, just as important as the person next to you. And, starting with, Drake Slatke, First Sergeant Slatke. That guy went to Ranger School at the age of 39. Like, I mean, I don't even know. Like, I wouldn't do that in the next 3 years. I ain't going to Ranger School. I wanted to do that stuff when I was a young cat. Like, we were so physically fit in Charlie Company too. I mean, we wanted to be that best. And, if you wasn't willing to get down with the program, I mean, First Sergeant Slatke was trying to move you out. I mean, that's all he wanted. He wanted good medics, and he laid the foundation for Charlie Company in the 173rd. Like, he was the epitome of the perfect first sergeant, the perfect character. Him and himself, he was a great mentor just to look up to. But yeah, that was a great start with the 173rd. But yeah, at a later date, yeah, we should bring on a couple of the female medics from Charlie Company.
We will.
They have some badass stories that, people, when they think of a female medic, they don't think of that. They think of the typical aid station medic. She might be good at IVs, or she might be good at some sick call stuff. But these girls they was getting it. Like, they've done some stuff that, I hadn't even done, with the combat that I had been in, and they were going out there just performing. It was amazing.
People have no idea, man. They have no idea. Yeah. I was just continuously humbled too by so many people in the military, and even like, man, I want to go back to you, but even when I took over the Scout Sniper platoon, I was like, something always brought me back to the 173rd, and just the straight savagery and the training style that we had, man, was insane. It's imprinted in your brain. It's never going to go away, as you know. Dude, if you can, man, I want to touch on, that next deployment. And listen, we had obviously a very bad day. One in particular, a few, but one in particular. And like you were saying, I definitely would love to give a shout out to Ray. And
that is that day in particular is probably still one of my hardest demons that I worked through. Not even a lot of people, throughout the BSB, know that Ray was he was in my truck.
Yeah.
I went on leave and he covered down for me in our platoon. I had already been back from leave a few days. We were working to basically me transition back in the platoon. Ray was wanting to stay with the platoon. He loved the guys that we were with Alpha Company. And we were just a great fit. Well, I remember I got called in to the company talk, and they told me that I wasn't going out on mission with Alpha Company for a couple of days. I needed to go to
the briefing, right?
Brigade. I needed to go up to Brigade, and they're going to the 7 most dangerous FOBs in our AO. And I had to go up and be the PSD medic for the Brigade Colonel and Brigade Sergeant Major. So, and that's, again, I'm one of, 50 medics that we had in the 173rd, or 70 medics that we had in the 173rd. And, it was a lot of times it was always my name that got brought up when, if it was, we were going to somewhere dangerous, like, especially our second deployment, like, my name always got brought up and I was always asked to go. So I remember I was sitting in my bunk that day. I remember I heard a Black Hawk come in and it touch and go real fast. And, most of the time when you have, casualties that are wounded and, are sustaining, they're still treatable injuries. The bird's usually on the ground for a minute. We got to take our time, get all the equipment off. And I remember the bird touch and go, and I got a really eerie feeling in my stomach. And I remember one of the other medics come running in our tent and started grabbing all of his stuff. And he said, first platoon's been hit by an IED. And I knew something was bad. Like, I knew. I went I grabbed all my stuff, man. I threw my top on, threw my hat on, and I wasn't moving fast. I was just in my head right then and there. I remember walking towards the aid station, and Sergeant Wynn was at E5 in Charlie Company. I looked up at him, and he was crying bad. And I could just tell, I mean, he was devastated. And I remember that day, I just looked at him. I said, where's Ray at? And he just, he looked at me and he shook his head. And I'm like, you know, I'm a specialist at this time. I'm like, Sergeant Wynn, like, where's Ray at? And I remember him say, dude, it's not good. It's not good. He's in the FST. And I went to go to the FST, and Sergeant Newville and a couple of somebody else, like another NCO, and I think Captain Leo or somebody. They stopped me from going into the FST, and I had gained an incredible rapport with the FST. Like these guys loved me because they got to kind of train with me and get my experience pre-FST that comes to them. So just to kind of, you know, make our jobs better, and so we can come together in a better pace. Well, I went to the aid station doors, and I remember they wouldn't let me in, and like I started to like get angry and flip out. Like I mean, I was raging inside, and I remember I threw my M4 across Charlie Company's little CTA, and I lost it. Like that was my first, you know, time when I broke down. I was just like, let me go in and see him. And they eventually, you know, I mean, within, you know, a minute, just told me that you got to calm down a little bit and we'll let you go in. And then they let me go in, and some of the last, you know, things I remember of our best friend was him laying on a table with his chest cracked open. Like that's, you know. And that really was like one of my best friends. He knew everything. Like on the battlefield, like we connected as medics. Like I didn't have to ask him for a specific life-saving tool. I could just be like, hey, I need this, or I need some narcs, and he would know to hand me morphine and not fentanyl, or man. You know what I mean. I need Ray. I need you know, IV fluid. I need a bag, and he'd know to hand me LR and not normal saline, or vice versa. Like he knew exactly what we needed at all times. And if he was with me, like I felt safe. I knew I had a, you know, I mean, he was an outstanding medic, number one. I mean, he just had that ability about him. I mean, he was great. I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, I miss him more than anything in this world. Like it's was one of the hardest things, you know, I dealt with my second deployment. That's really kind of what set, you know, my PTSD. I really started noticing, you know, I mean, there was a difference about me. When Ray passed away, I was mad. I was angry. That last little, you know, month or two of deployment that we had right there, I was looking to get fucking nasty at the end of the deployment. I mean, I wanted some. If the enemy wanted some, well, look, we was bringing the fight to you now. You didn't have to come around and bring the fight to us. We wanted to bring the fight to you. The lack of sleep, I mean, that's when it started setting in, you know, the just uneasiness, the restlessness. It was, it just set in after that day, and that was the hardest day for everybody. I mean, that death of those 4 men, and I mean, I don't mean to not talk about all the other ones, because I mean, you know, Benny and George and Paige, you know what I mean?
They're going to get brought up a lot, my man. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, they're just as important, and I mean, they touched our lives in different ways, you know what I mean? I mean, that was those guys were who I rode with every day, you know?
Yeah,
so,
no, man.
I mean, yeah, that's, I ended up naming my daughter after Ray. She carries his middle name. Her middle name's Ray for, Ray. So, I mean, she'll always carry that. We'll, you know, she never got to meet him, but I'm telling you, you come talk to my kid about Ray and you'll swear that she knew him. Like they spent intimate time together. You know, they talked. Yeah,
It's awesome.
it's just we'll always carry him on. I mean, he's one of those figures that, well, I mean, he'll live on in our hearts, and you know, through our kids' hearts and our grandkids' hearts. And I mean, that's kind of why it's important to tell our story. You know what I mean? If not,
100%.
these memories, they fade away. You know, a lot of people, you know, with PTSD, they told me when I first found out I had PTSD, really, that your memories are never going to go away. And I told them, well, that's good, because I don't want to lose those memories. Like, I mean, I don't, you know, even the hard times and the hardships, like, that's a part of me. That's what made me who I am today. That's what gives me my fight to keep going every day. I mean, that's everything. Like, that established the foundation, you know, of our character, you know, I mean, of who we are. You know, our military experience, I mean, it molded us. You know, we are all a different person. Everybody always says when they meet somebody from the military and they go off to war, they always say, oh, they're different. They're different. I mean, yeah, we're different because we were asked to go do extraordinary things. And, you know, the word hero gets thrown around a lot. You know, I mean, I've been called that from, you know, I mean, quite a few people. And, like, I mean, to say that, you know what I mean? Like, that's, I don't know. To say I'm a hero, like, I mean, what are we saying? Like, I mean, the guys that are heroes are the ones that ain't here no more. You know what I mean? And their stories have got to live on. And if we don't continue telling them, you know, nobody else is going to be out there telling them.
No, yeah, and we'll never stop. I mean, it's very hard to talk about. I appreciate that, man. It's you know, it's been 11 years now, and no one's forgotten. No one's forgotten.
Yeah.
And we're just going to keep amplifying it, man. You know, for their families too. And you're right. You know, I think that it's kind of twofold when you talk about the word hero. I think a lot of people just generally don't know what to say, and that is,
yeah,
you know, it's fair for them. A lot of people really don't, because there are words, dude. Like, what can you say? There's really no justifiable words, but it's, you know, they're trying to be appreciative.
Oh,
but,
yeah,
dude,
absolutely.
We have a couple minutes, man, and I want to know how you've been since you got out, and what you're doing, because you definitely have the drive and you're very successful, and this foundation, I know you're going to be a part of it in some capacity, and you're going to be very successful. Go ahead, my man.
So, I mean, getting out, it was a journey that I was not ready for. And I tell you, I would go back and do 5 more corn galls than deal with just the heartache of, I mean, when you get out, I mean, you're, number one, it's lonely. It's lonely as shit because, I mean, the guys that are still in, you know, they got families, they got lives. We're not reaching out and connecting like we should. And I mean, and it's sad even today. You know, we all don't reach out and connect unless something bad's happened. You know, we've lost another guy, whether it's the suicide, suicide by drugs. And a lot of people are like, well, he just overdosed. Well, why did he overdose? What demons was he fighting and why was he using? When I got out, I fell straight on my face. I've lost 2 homes, multiple cars, you know. Waking up knowing that you don't have a home today and having to scramble and get a home and make it look like to your kids that everything's okay and we're just moving on. Oh, we're on a new adventure. That was, you know, it was hard. You know, alcohol played a part in some of that hard times, you know. You just want to drink to forget. Right now I'm actually on a little journey myself. I've had maybe 4 drinks in the last, 7-8 months. And I just don't, I used to always drink just to have to drink away the pain. And it wasn't working. I was, when I got out, within the first year, my wife was pregnant. I was 27 years old. I didn't have no kids yet. My wife had a daughter that came with the package deal. So when I first got home, she was just turning 7. I didn't know how to be a dad. I knew how to be a fucking soldier. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to take care of kids and try to deal with my PTSD, which, what was PTSD? I didn't even know really what it was.
Right.
When I got out, I kept telling, chain of command a little bit, I mean, hey, I wasn't doing very well, and, but I mean, I didn't reach out like I should neither. I actually went AWOL for a little bit, for probably almost 2 months, and nobody really even knew that. I didn't want to come back. Like, once my wife got pregnant, like, I didn't want to do another deployment. Like, I thought I was going to die. I ended up, squaring all that away. I got out with an honorable discharge. Still, collected all my awards and stuff like that. And I mean, it was, the Army just knew, you know what I mean? I was done. I was stressed out to my max capacity. Wasn't fun no more. The nightmares, I still have to this day. Sleeping issues, flashbacks. I have flashbacks when I'm driving a car, and like, at first that used to freak me out. Now I've learned to live to control that. But you're never going to get anywhere if we don't work on ourselves. Everything that I have lost, I take ownership of that. That was me. You know what I mean? That was me riding on my depression. That was me riding on, I didn't think I could be successful after I got out of the Army. You know what I mean? I thought the greatest days of my life were now over, and I didn't know what the future held. I didn't know, you know what I mean? What's my next task? I used to be the most important guy in the world to everybody around me. And now I'm David Kelso. I work at an oil company. I'm damaged with PTSD. I'm having flashbacks, nightmares. I'm angry all the time. Just, and a lot of that, I was angry. I was mad. I didn't want to be out of the Army. I still wanted to be with the guys. I felt like I gave up. And, but I didn't, you know what I mean? It took me a lot of years to deal with that. The first 3 years, well, when I was in the Army, they had me on 30 milligrams of Valium a day. Like, that is incredibly the most irresponsible thing that anybody can ever do to a veteran, is to give them that amount of benzos. It numbs you completely out. You don't have to look for coping mechanisms. You don't have to look for outside help. You just be numb. Just don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just crazy. I mean, I don't get, you know what I mean? They just want to drone you out. They don't want you to have a voice. And I'm telling you, after 3 years of benzos and antidepressants, and I was taking Percocets for my back pain. That whole airborne thing.
Of course.
Yeah, knee pain and back pain was terrible, but I quit that about 8 years ago. I don't take any kind of medication right now. I smoke pot at night, you know what I mean, for the stress of, getting to sleep and everything like that. It's probably one of the most beneficial things I've had with the sleep and the stress, and the pain. You know what I mean? I don't hurt, but also I don't wake up the next morning feeling groggy, feeling like you know what I mean? Like, I hate pain medication. About a year ago, I burnt my arm from my knuckles all the way to my elbow. And, it was second, third degree burns. My whole entire top layer of skin was nothing but a blister from my elbow to my wrist. And, I didn't take not a single pain medication. I took, I think maybe like 8 or 9 ibuprofen, and took about 10 Tylenol throughout a few days. And I let it heal up, the pain medication just put a bad little kind of taste in my mouth, and I just hated what the VA did to me for that. Like, I mean, they just want to drone you out. I think there's a lot of good programs with the VA, but you know what I mean? The medication one it's just not the route for everybody. Some people it does. I mean, it helps them. I mean, there's a lot of good, antidepressants out there that really do help people, but people just, be aware of, the pill pushers at the VA.
100%. Dude, I don't want to cut you off, man. I want you to talk forever. But we're coming up to the end of the segment. And just real quick, I mean, right now it seems as if you're excelling. You got a high point. I can't wait really to get this started and get it rolled out and have you come on board in some capacity. I think you're going to excel at that. And that being said, the first getaway or retreat or whatever we're going to call it that we do, I want you to be a part of. And,
Absolutely.
and we'll reach out to a lot of our old, guys and gals and get them on board. But right now, man, I mean, what's your future in, a couple sentences?
Future, raising my family. I wanna reach out to as many veterans. I've been, I didn't know how to reach out until you kind of contacted me, and what avenue I was going to take. There's a lot of outlets out there, but you reaching out to me and us being so connected. I think just reaching out to veterans, getting our voices heard. Like you said, this is monumental. It's going to help out so many people, I think, in the end. And, and also on the civilian side, it's going to, give the civilian side a chance to see what it's like inside of us. But yeah, try to just lower that suicide rate. You know what I mean? Throughout our unit, we've lost a lot of guys, over the last, 4 or 5 years. And it's hard. We're all in different places. And, it's not like I can come to you and say, Mike, come here. Let me give you a hug, brother. Let me put my arms around you. You know what I mean? We're so far away. So, we just have to continue, I think reaching out, getting get-togethers together for, guys, especially that are having hard times. We see one of the guys in the unit having a hard time. We reach out, take him somewhere, give him a few days to sit down and take that deep breath, that sigh of relief. You know what I mean? You're safe, brother. We got you. You need to talk about something. Man. We need to get through something, anything.
100%. So, dude, I love you, man. I'm always here. You know that.
Absolutely. Love you too, brother.
Thank you very much, man, for coming on. So that was Dave Kelso, and we're going to see a lot more of him. I really appreciate it, man. And I can't wait to have you back on, and I can't wait to roll this out and get you on board. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity, brother.
Anytime.
I'm glad to be here.
Anytime.